to me weekly yarns. If you're new to the channel, my name's Barry. Thanks for visiting. What we're doing this week then? Well, it's been a good week, hasn't it? The weather had 7 days, lovely sunshine, dry weather, no rain, perfect. Loads of nice new lambs coming, healthy and strong. So, what are we getting done this week? Well, we've got the PTO pulled to bits. You've seen the video from what we've done. I'll give you a quick look around where we are with the parts, but all the parts have had a bath. A couple of parts had wire brushing, bearings were ordered. We've got all the replacement bearings that we need. There's one bearing that I'm going to reuse because it's okay. There's no appreciative wear in it. There's no excess noise when you rotate it. I've greased it up and I'm happy with the way things are. The large bearing for the back, 2 seconds, I'll give you, get the big bearing. This was the most expensive one, and I shot them out for me bearings. This is the large bearing from the top input, on the back of the input shaft. That ended up being, with VAT, £54 for that. The needle open cut bearings were £6 each. When I took them out, when I knocked the old bearings out, I had the intention of trying to clean them up and reuse those ones because I thought it would be expensive. When I found out that they were £6, £5.75 each, I thought we'll just, for £5.75 we'll just replace them. And as it happens, well, they had to be replaced anyway because they were beyond saving. To be honest with you, one had a couple of rollers missing, which was the one that flew to bits when I knocked it out. The other one was solid. It did eventually start moving, but the amount of noise it makes is not nice. So they've gone. They're going to go the distance. But remember, don't throw anything away till you're finished. You never know when you're going to need things. Right, what else? We're waiting for a thrust bearing to come. When new bearings, I'm going to pull them in. I'm going to get a high tensile steel bolt, 100mm long, hopefully, nut and bolt. Use me collars that I've got off my seal setting kit, because it's 13mm. It's got a 14mm hole through the middle, so I get a 13mm nut through it, nut and bolt. And I've got a 13mm thrust washer coming, internal diameter. And the whole idea is we put the nut and bolt through the two faces, put the bearing in there, and reduce the friction that the bolt has on the head of the puller by putting the thrust bearing in there, because if we can convert most of the energy into pulling rather than friction, then we'll get those bearings in. I don't really want to start and tap them back in. I haven't got a press. I don't want to tap them back in with a hammer, so I'm going to try and pull them back in, but we'll see how we get on. Hopefully that'll be this week. We'll get us sorted out this week. Then what we can do, because the whole plan is, case is outside, you'll see it in a minute, get the case away, washed, pressure washed, get it back here, wire wheeled, get it cleaned up, get the bearings put in, get all the internals put back in, degrease the outside again, mask it up, get some red oxide primer on it, and get it partially reassembled. By partially reassemble, I mean put all the cheek plates and everything back on that are lying outside with it, and you'll see that in a minute. All the nuts and bolts have been done, all the other bits have been done. Something I didn't get done this week, I haven't had time, is these two broken studs in there. Haven't had time to get them done, but we'll get them out. I'm going to flatten them off a little bit first so I can get my drill onto them. I have seen people get these out by drilling a hole through the middle, and you know the little torque star tips that you get, they knock the torque star tips into them, a bit like a stud extractor in a way, and then you can turn them out. Problem being, if you snap them, and I have seen people snap them on YouTube, you then got to get hardened steel out of the core of this little bolt before you can get the bolt out. I'm going to stick with the old method. I'm just going to put a little flat on it, I'm going to drill them out, and I'm going to clean them out with the taps. So we'll find out from the parts book what size threads you are, and we'll get that sorted. Right, so what else has been going on this week? Not a lot really, and that's about it. We just did the PTO. We've got to get cleaned up. The bearings, we shopped about for the bearings. The selector fork. Let's see, everything's had a wire brush. Had the selector fork, we've got all the corrosion off the end. This piece from here outwards is outside of the gearbox. The piece that is in the gearbox and in the bush is in good condition. This is a bit pitted with corrosion, but it's not going to matter because it's on the outside of the box anyway. It actually sits in between, that's why that's corroded, and that piece isn't. This piece is where the little handle was fitting. This piece was the bit that was just sitting inside the cheek plate and between the cheek plate and the casting. So that gets me to remember this PTO drive, where you've got some of the teeth are in good condition, and then you get an area like this where you can see it's just been scored out. All I'm going to do, I've spoke to my friend up in Scotland, and he says because it's the PTO and because this tractor isn't really going to work very hard after this, it isn't going to. I don't think this PTO will ever drive anything ever again. And then I hear you say, so why are you bothering to replace the bearings and everything? Well, because I like it to be, I want it to be nice and quiet when I set it away. I want it to be nice and quiet when somebody gets hold of the shaft and turns it. And you never know. That might just be the day when we decide to. So I'm going to get a Dremel, and I'm going to dress off the edges, the sharp edges on here, and we're going to clean this up. But that itself is nice and clean. It just needs a wipe down. Right. Right, all the internals have had a bath. We've got our replacement bearings, replacement oil seal, because with the dirt that was in the cap, if you remember, under the cap there, we don't know what condition that oil seal is now in, so we're going to replace it for a couple of quid. We're going to replace it. This had a bath, a wire brush. Still haven't getting the studs out yet. The output for the PTOs had a polish with our Scotch pads and a bit of Duraglit. Get all the corrosion out of that. Selectors, that's going to get cut off, cleaned up and put right. I haven't yet addressed the wheel. I'm going to dress all the teeth up this edge up here with a little Dremel and a tiny grinding stone and get in, just take the burrs off there. All the bolts wire brushed. some of these, you can see on the heads there, some of these are grade 8s. Others are just bog standard bolts. These are the cup bearings that came out. This was the one that was solid. And what I did was, I put them in clean diesel, just let them soak for an hour. You should have seen the dirt that came out of them. This is the other cup bearing. This is the one that flew to bits when I knocked it out of the housing. And the reason it flew to bits is there's 2 little rollers missing. God knows where they went to. God knows where they went to. But remember, I'm always saying you don't throw things away till the job's complete and finished. Well, this piece, this is just grease on here and dirt. I'm going to give it a polish. That is the middle bits out of those bearings. The new bearings do not come with them. These are not part of the bearing. These are classed as open cup bearings. These, you got to buy these from the manufacturer or have them made yourself. These aren't that bad. They're going to get a polish up, and you see they're a bit of a fiddly fit in there, so they're not bad. They'll go back in there. So we've got 2 of those, new oil seal, new bearing for the idler for the hydraulic pump, new top bearing for the shaft, new bottom bearing for the shaft. So that's all our bearings that we need. That's our seal surface, where this seal runs on here, fits through into the back of that PTO housing there. Giving that a polish. There's a line there, but there is no, you can't feel it. It's a, if I stuck that in a lathe and give it a polish with emery, that will come up beautiful. There is no groove in the wear surface there. Alright, so that's all our bits. Housing hasn't gotten, I'll give you a quick look at the housing. The housing hasn't gotten washed up yet. Pull the plates off it. So this will get, it'll get degreased. It'll get pressure washed. And then come back and get wire wheeled. And then we'll get it painted up. But I'm going to paint it after we've done the rebuild. Right, I had a question from Andre from Portugal during the week asking about torque tension values for the engine, cylinder head bolts, rocker cover bolts, things like that. Passed them on to him, give him source of information, but I did tell him I would show you this picture. And what it is, it's a torque tensioning table. I found it on the internet. I just googled torque tension values and this popped up. I did a download on it, I save it. It gives you generic values for the different types of bolts, and as you can see from the image, it's got your grade 5s, grade 8s and grade 9s, as well as your bog standard heat treated grade A bolts. So hope it's useful for you. Just get on Google, torque tension values. This should pop up. Download it and keep it. Hope it's helpful to you. Well, we've just had a little visitor. Our little lady blackbird's just flown at the garage, did a quick U-turn, back out the door. She mustn't have liked the camera work. So that's it for the weekly yarns from Northumberland. Thank you very much for visiting. Don't forget now, if you like the videos, if you want to see more of the Davy Brown 990 restoration, please like and subscribe. All you'll get is a little message in the top right hand corner of your screen when you come onto YouTube telling you that we uploaded a new video, should you want to come and have a look at it. It helps us grow the channel tremendously, helps us in the future produce better videos for you. So please remember, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye now.